to some Mega Drive fun, and one of those somewhat unique arcade action games that I'm not sure if anyone really fully knew what to make of. It seems both somewhat antiquated and ahead of its time in a way. The game in question is Crackdown, which travelled to the Mega Drive from the arcade by way of Sega's creation, and it's a top-down shooter. Simple enough, but one with a few twists from the norm. Oh, and just to get it out of the way, yes, it does have a title that makes me automatically do a Donald Duck impression. And it also comes with gloriously homoerotic box art where one guy clearly has his hand firmly clenched on the other's arse. Alright? Happy? Wipe yourself up and let's get on with it.
Suit you, sir. Suit you, sir.
The objective of Crackdown's levels is pretty simple. You have to plant bombs on various X's throughout the stage, and once you plant all of them, you can exit, and you have to do it all under a very strict time limit. The twist comes with how the action plays out. This game is one of the first ever to feature a cover system, allowing you to get out of harm's way by sticking to the walls. You couldn't really say it was influential, as I can't recall many other games that had this feature until years later, but it certainly makes the game stand out. The cover system does have lots of strategic users, usually making sets of enemies accidentally kill each other, and well, doing that is always fun, isn't it? You can also do this with doors too, and that can also be quite entertaining. It's a slower paced, more thoughtful top-downer, something you might enjoy if you're a fan of the almighty Game Ground. It's not as good as Lap Game, but like Lap Game it offers something a little different. There are a few odd things about the game though, which is what I mean by it also feeling a little antiquated. The display certainly takes getting used to, as it's so small. The minuscule display does allow for the action to be pretty packed without losing much speed, but it might be seen as a pretty big negative. There is a reason for this in that Crackdown is absolutely a two-player game, to the point where I would consider a second player to be essential in order to get full enjoyment out of it. Hell, the level design as a whole makes it obvious, with most levels featuring two separate paths with bombs on each coming together at the end. With a second player it flows beautifully. In single player it means that a lot of levels come with somewhat annoying backtracking. It's kind of nice as around this time the two-player experience was becoming more and more disregarded in favour of single player in the home, so a flat-out two-player game is a nice thing to have. But it meant that a lot of people didn't really get the game, and it didn't do well either critically or commercially. So that should really be kept in mind. If you don't have someone else you can play this game with, you may not enjoy it at all. I'm not playing with two players here, but I can just about struggle through because I really enjoy the game's concept, and it's cool to see stuff that we almost take for granted in shooter games today in an authentic 16-bit setting. But even then, I would have to admit that what you see here isn't really doing the game justice. What looks like lousy graphics and pointless reduction isn't at all, honestly. And there is some decentish music too. If the conditions are right and you've got someone else who's absolutely itching to play old and largely forgotten conversions of weird arcade games, then this game is absolutely for you. It's some of the most in-depth multiplayer fun you can have on the system, almost up there with the likes of Toe Jam and Earl and the aforementioned Game Ground. If not, your mileage may vary, but you should still get it anyway because, well, it's bloody good. Someday, you know, your points may come. See you tomorrow.